So I wanted to make a brief video about cultural relativism and ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism is this idea or this view that somehow your ethnicity or your culture is superior to other people, or your culture, um, even better, is normal. So your ethnicity or your culture or your community is what is normal, and everything else is kind of wacky or different or weird or odd or bizarre or native, or choose 1,000 words to describe somebody. It's foreign or it's whatever. This created a major problem in anthropology, and that is that we have trouble viewing other people's cultures without evaluating them from our point of view. So cultural relativism was the idea that we should judge a culture and its values and its beliefs within the system of beliefs in that culture, and not within the system of beliefs from our culture. And that's very difficult to do, and in fact, many would argue that's impossible to do, and that you can't do it. I think Geertz is going to make some strong points about this, but maybe not, and maybe we'll read him and discuss him a little bit. But your book has a really interesting example of this in the Nacirema. And the Nacirema, they say, are a North American group living in the territory between the Canadian Cree, Yaqui, and Tamahumarai of Mexico, and the Carib and Arawak of the Antilles. And little is known of their origin, although tradition states that they came from the east. Now, this is a famous piece that was written by a cultural anthropologist. Now, if we look at these words and start to fill some synonyms, what we find is that we got a group of people that are living between Canada and Mexico and the Antilles, because that circle right here, this is the Antilles. This is Mexico, this is Canada. So they're talking about a people that live here. And it says little is known of their origin, but they came from the east. Tradition states they came from the east. Well, east of this area would be Europe, right? So maybe they're talking about the people that live in this region of the world. So they go on to say, in the body ritual of the Nacirema, they go on to say the focal point of the shrine is a box or chest which is built into the wall. In this chest are kept the many charms and magical potions without which no native believes he could live. Now I want you to notice some of these words. Shrine, charms, magic, native. This all sounds like some foreign people, some people that aren't anything like us. But let's change these words. Let's, instead of say shrine, let's say room. Let's change box or chest to something, a box or chest which is built into the wall. Let's change the words charms and magical potions to something different. And native, well, a native is a person that lives there. If we change some of these words, then the sentence becomes the focal point of the bathroom is the medicine chest which is built into the wall. In this chest are kept the many personal care products and prescriptions without which no native believes he could live. If we read another sentence, these preparations are secured from a variety of specialized practitioners. The most powerful of these are the medicine men, whose assistants must be rewarded with substantial gifts. Well, if we change a few of these words, the personal care products and prescriptions are secured from a variety of special stores, like drug stores. The most powerful of these are the doctors, whose assistants must be rewarded with substantial payment. Doctors in our culture make a lot of money. Beneath the charm box is a small font. Each day, every member of the family in succession enters the shrine room, bows his head before the charm box, mingles different sorts of holy water in the font, and proceeds with a brief rite of ablution. Well, if we changed some of these words, beneath the medicine cabinet is a sink. A font is a sink or a basin, a small thing that holds water. Each day, every member of the family in succession enters the bathroom, bends over the sink, puts toothpaste on a toothbrush, and proceeds with brushing their teeth. This is us. This is a description of American culture and what we do in the morning to a certain extent and about our origin. This is a description of America. And if you look at the Nacirema, it's American spelled backwards. And Notnishaw is Washington spelled backwards. And the question that this raises, or the thought that this raises for us, is that if this sounds bizarre, if this sounds weird, if this sounds strange, if you don't like to be referred to as a native, how do you think our descriptions of others sound to them? That's the big question. In anthropology, how weird does this description of us sound? How must our descriptions of them sound? Even in your book, it sets up these sorts of weird scenarios and sort of racist almost tendencies. It is impossible for Mexican immigrant children to conform to this image. Mexicana girls are especially disadvantaged because most are not interested in or good at sports. The few Mexicana girls who are motivated to try to get good grades are overlooked by the teachers. So even in your book, there are sort of these racist generalizations about an entire group of people, an entire culture, an entire class. Mexicana girls are not good at sports and not interested in good grades. That's cultural. That's ethnocentrism. We don't know what a Mexicana girl might want. She might want to be good at sports, and she might want to get good grades. This is a stereotype, and probably a result of ethnocentrism. So hopefully that clarified the Nacirema and what they mean. They're talking about us. So if that sounds bizarre, then just remember when you're describing someone else's culture, how bizarre it might sound to them.